Evening, people. Welcome back. Welcome to a midweek catch-up show. I know there's a bit of a little matter of the darts final, and he's got the hump of tuning in live from work. But I call it dedication. I call it being loyal. And are you at work? It looks like work. It doesn't look like your bedroom.
It's my,
There's a few cabinets, office cabinets.
it's the
But,
office. It's the office.
is it the office? Okay,
It's the office. Yeah.
the boss is doing work. There's a signpost on the door that don't come in. There's a meeting going place, and there's two of us today. Avi, I think we've reached the climax of the darts. I've been watching it because this little kid has bought new viewers.
A
Have you
little
watched
kid, he
darts?
looks older than me, and I'm about 20 years older than him. He's definitely not 16. He's definitely not
Yeah,
16.
I watched the darts, Avi. Been watching it. Eric Bristow. That's probably a bit. He was done by the time I watched watching it, but he was in the commentary box. But
Phil Taylor,
Arnie and
Forbes,
Phil Taylor.
Andy Fordham, yeah.
Oh yeah. And is he
My
the one that,
Asim, no word of a lie. My mama, which is my mum's brother, God rest his soul, no longer with us. He
God
was an
bless his
absolutely amazing darts player. Every
Wow.
time, right, Punjabi guy would go to the pub, have a few pints of beer. He would always come home with trophies. He worked for Mars, the chocolate factory, back home in Berkshire, and he would always go into these dart tournaments. People from other pubs would sign him up. So if his son's watching, RV, he's a big Liverpool fan too, who lives in California. Yeah, his dad had like a array of trophies, 50, 60 trophies like, on top of the cabinet.
Did you
Massive.
ever give him a game?
No, nowhere near that level. No,
Wow.
180 with his eyes closed. He used to have a dartboard in his bedroom. That's how dedicated he
No.
was. Amazing player, amazing player. So yeah, no, I've always had a little bit of interest. Obviously, Phil Taylor, the great Phil Taylor, Eric Bristow, and some great characters. But not much of a fan these days myself.
Broke the records. Apparently, I think it was Phil Taylor versus Anderson in terms of viewings. I think it was 2.1 million or something, or 1.7 maybe. It was something like that. But he smashed it out of the park with 2.1 or 2.2 with the semi-final, and the final probably did even more today. But it looks like Jono's just. I left it at 4-3, and it looks like.
That Humphries is one.
Judging by Jono's message, it looks like the little kid has lost, but I'm sure he'll be there again, even though he's a Man United fan, and he says all that, but you always rooted for the kid, didn't you? We can excuse the Man United affiliation, I'm sure. But Avi, how you spent the last 2 days? You watched the Monday night game. Liverpool made a statement, and it's been a bit of a common theme where Liverpool need about 50 million shots to score, but in terms of the performance, I think the last month at Liverpool are up in the levels. I know maybe the Man United game was a bit frustrating, but I thought they were brilliant against Arsenal, and they were even better against Newcastle. And let's go back to the lineup. Any surprises for you and your general thoughts on it?
Now, we spoke about Jones coming in, Szoboszlai on the right. Endo keeps his place. Mac Allister maybe a tad too early. Joe Gomez coming in at left back, filling in, done a great job so far. I think the lineup, maybe Gakpo. I think we had sort of said maybe Gakpo deserves a chance after getting that assist the first half, but you could see why he went with Diaz as well. Just that discipline about going back, protecting Joe Gomez a little bit. But all in all, I thought the lineup was great. 18 shots first half, Asim. It was the first time we weren't passive. We were actually going for it. And funny enough, that first half, we could have been 1-0 down if Dan Burn sort of times his run,
Yeah.
or the initial run from the winger or runner, Isaac, maybe. So that was a great result. We'll go into the game, some top performances, but I was very impressed. I know we let in two goals that could have and should have been avoided, but we were impressive going forward.
You touched on Gakpo. I put a thread out which you approved of. It's always nice to get
First for everything. Hey, first for everything. You know what it is? It's the first few days of the new year. That's when I'm nice to you. So after that, we're going to go back to normality.
And I know to throw a few jabs is when you're at work because your volume is already low today. Maybe you'll talk a bit of sense today. I don't know.
Shanti rakho.
Maybe I'll just tap a few buttons, pull a few strings. Well, Avi, you mentioned Gakpo. Where do you lie in the debate of Gakpo should be, left wing? I know you've got a special sort of love affair with Diaz since he even played at Porto and came over to Liverpool. But his performance against Burnley was a good one, and the team came out. There was a reaction towards Diaz. One assist in the last 33 is not good enough for a Liverpool winger, or calling what you want inside forward, whatever it is, it's just not good enough. But I thought it was one of his best performances in a long, long time for Liverpool.
I thought first half, Asim against Burnley, I thought Gakpo was probably arguably our best player. Gets the assist for Nunez, was looking up more, awareness, knows where his surrounding was, and I thought he was a bit unlucky not to start against Newcastle. But Klopp went with Diaz, his probably first choice on the left, and he put in a performance of when he first joined. Even the earlier on this season, he hasn't been rubbish from the start since the start of the season. He was actually good up until obviously what happened with his father with the kidnapping and all that. Got a little bit of a injury, but prior to that, he was fine. He was absolutely he was fine. I think he'd got 4 goals in his first sort of 8-9 games, and then it all went a little bit sour for him. But the Newcastle performance, I think he came a little bit back to the foyer. And he complimented everyone well. His link.
Why do you think though? Why do you think? Is it because Jota's back, a bit of a kick up the arse? There's extra competition for places now.
Asim, you know what? Psychologically, sometimes it could just be the turn of the year that you just pick up. Philip Coutinho, first 3-4 months of the season, apart from the last sort of spell that he had with us, that sort of last 2017-18 season, he always used to be a little bit of a slow burner. Then after January, he would just go on this sort of run, score winners, score 30-yarders. And Diaz, I believe that he's a full season player. He will give you 38 games if he's fit, and perform at the full optimum level. But I just think it could be just turn of the year, fresh start, starting the year with a positive energy mindset. I think his wife's expecting as well another one, so that's good news. I think all the stuff that happened previously with his father, I think that's all sort of sorted. I think it could just be that 2023 was a year that he probably wanted to forget. Confidence issues as well as him. I mean, there's a few performances, individual performances on the back end of 2023 that we can speak about on other players that haven't sort of hit the, firing line, like Darwin Nunez, and we'll come on to others. But no, I think it could just be fresh start, played, should be full of confidence now, and hopefully this now propels him, because it needs to propel him to that level that we saw when he first joined. Because Salah going, that's a big loss. We need someone to chip in with goals. I'm not saying that he's going to have the same goal return as Mo Salah, but he can definitely provide more assists than he's doing, and chipping in with the odd few goals as well.
I mean, but I think you have to mention that the fact that he did it against Livermento. You had him a few weeks ago in the team of the season.
Still do.
Does he still make it right back for you?
He's definitely ahead of Trippier, put it that way.
Maybe just an honourable mention now. But I think that is very, very sort of, I'm spirited with the fact that he did it with a proper fullback. He's a proper cultured fullback, a footballer who's got a turn of pace as well. And I thought in terms of attitude as well, in terms of Diaz's approach, he just ran. He had a sort of a clear mind as what he needed to do. And I thought he just expressed himself a bit more. I thought the switch, when he comes inside, he sometimes pops it off. But he was brave enough to go to Salah a few times.
Yeah.
And when teams are shifted across, if you play that switch, whether the DM plays a switch, how many times have we seen Rice play, Rodri play, Mac Allister play, even when he came on? But if it comes from the inside forward who's running across, I think that shifts across, and Salah will obviously a bit wider, but he's got space to run at the left back, and you can isolate, the opposite left back on the other side. So I think that was a real hallmark of his game on Monday night.
Asim, he was more daring. He was probing. He was asking questions. He wasn't getting the ball and looking back again for a pass to maybe Endo or the left back or a midfielder. He was actually turning the other way and going at defenders as he should be. Whether it's Livramento, whether it's the best in the world, Diaz can get the best out of. He can get the better out of the best of them. He can definitely cause problems. I said it earlier. I said he's an absolute pest at his best. Yeah, he can be an absolute pest for 85, 90 minutes. He can just keep running down that channel. And what we saw was him on the turn. There was one turn where he switches on Livramento, goes and he crosses it in. No one's at the receiving end. But then he sets up the goal where arguably he cuts in. And he cuts in, dribbles a little bit long. He dribbles a little bit more forward, takes up a few inches in, gets it to Nunez, who could have arguably shot, but he looks for Salah, who scores. So he was instrumental. Unlikely to be taken off, but in hindsight, like you mentioned, Linda's. I know you had a little earpiece yourself, hearing Linda's and call-ups conversation. It was the right decision to make the sub, but I thought it was a bit tad unlucky that he came off. But no, look, this is what we want from Luis Diaz, to use this as his platform going into 2024.
But I think we've got the perfect blend. I've always said, Jota is a hybrid between Nunez and Gakpo. But when he comes and he plays that inside second striker role, we'll see that. But I think second half, you saw, and I think you mentioned it on Twitter, where he was playing in a more of a central position. He was sometimes in that 9 position and making that Sadio Mane run. But with Gomez really high up, really high, we had that box midfield. It allowed Diaz to tuck in a bit more. But I thought, you know what? This guy is... look, we have to caveat everything, put a bit of perspective in. It's only one game.
Yeah.
But there were some doubts now, including myself. I know you backed him from day one, Avi, but I was just scared that this guy's lost the ability to go on the outside. And I'm glad I saw it on Monday night with a proper, it's not established fullback, but a really promising fullback. And that is really, really encouraging. That's the word. But Diaz, long may it continue. And I think we've got a good blend. When we need to do a bit more defending, then he's the man. He hugs the touchline when he needs to. He stretches play, keeps the width, and he can come inside. He's comfortable at doing that, playing those little triangles, intricate play. But then when you really need a goal and we really pin the opposition back, then Gakpo and then Jota can come because they're a lot more probably comfortable in central areas, as to go back the other way. And that's what my thread was today. It wasn't inviting criticism on Gakpo, but it was just sort of expressing and highlighting the different natures of our collective 5. And long may it continue, because if those 5 stay, it could be the key of doing the mad one this season.
Yeah, and cohesively they look better as well together. Darwin sets up Salah. Darwin nearly sets up Diaz, which was an offside goal. I'm not sure if that took a little slight deflection onto Diaz, who scored. But again, ruled offside. They looked cohesively better, especially second half. And we can doubt Diaz, Asim. It's okay to doubt Diaz. At the end of the day, ultimately, he's going to be compared to Sadio Mane, especially the output that Sadio Mane provided and produced. Sometimes it's hard to hit those levels again. But if he can become like a 10 and 10, a 10 goal, 10 to 15, 15 should be his aim minimum, Diaz. But if he can get 10 assists, that would be a very good season for him. He might not get the goal return of Sadio Mane, especially after the latter seasons of Sadio Mane's career at Liverpool, because he was more central. But if Diaz can get the 10, 15 goals a season and still probe questions, assist as well, then we'll be happy as anything that, he's producing on the left. But again, it's a numbers game. He needs to improve those.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's a good start, considering he got the assist at Burnley coming on. He still got the assist for Burnley for Jota's goal. And then he kind of pre-assist, because I know that's a big word in your sort of threads and all this, pre-assist, Harvey Elliott's. But he got a pre-assist for the Darwin Nunez.
We're not allowed to mention that. We're not allowed to mention that because Gene, who's coming back on, there's been a few questions about, when Gene is back. He wants a special Darwin Nunez show. I don't want to sort of reveal too much, but I think we will. We probably are sort of sat on two sides or two opposite sides of the fence or spectrum, and I think it'll be a good show. And so maybe we can organize that for Sunday, and maybe you can be the referee on Sunday.
I want to participate.
That'll be 2 against 1 then, because I know your opinions. But TK, I'll take the challenge. No problem. You probably need to.
Wait,
anyway
I'm
Sunday.
for Darwin Nunez. I'm not against.
Are you for?
No, I'll always be for.
Oh, okay.
But there will come a point where, and we'll go on to that now before we read the super chat. There will come a point.
I think you're the adopted Japanese. I think you need to take this.
M. Tamizi, good friend from Brunei, followed us wherever we've gone. Salam and big up. Salam to you, Tamizi, and Happy New Year. I hope Itakura is the next Red Samurai after Endo. My top 2 centre back besides Kim Min Jae. Not like to like, but he reminds me of Puyol. Yeah, he's I think he's 6'1" or 6'2". He is a good defender. Where is he playing right now? Is he in Germany? Tamizi? Just confirm where he is. But
I don't know.
I think Tamizi DM'd me about his contract as well. He might be on the last year of his contract, but no, definitely. And look, we've seen this trio at Celtic, the 3 Japanese players at Celtic who are performing well, who could go to another level. They should be in the Premiership, to be honest. Endo, Minamino at Monaco. It all bodes well for certainly the Japanese game. But no, we'll keep a close eye on Itakura, monitoring Gladbach. There you go. Yeah, I thought so. He is in Germany. Yeah.
Another super chat. We're on a roll tonight, Avi. Thank you very much, selection. Klopp actually used Diaz's strength running into space to the fullest. In my opinion, think he's ineffective without it. I low-key think Klopp tested him at left back versus Everton for that reason. I've seen some shouts from the tacticals about using Luis Diaz at left back.
Was that last season or the season before that? The quad. Was it last season we tried it?
I think it was last season.
Okay.
It was last season when we won 2-0.
At Anfield, yeah.
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 Anfield. When we went 2-0, I think they were down to 10 men as well, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think it's something like someone like what's his name, Nagelsmann will do. He's been using these sort of types of left backs, hasn't he? I don't know. I think it's an option where you're facing a really, really deep team who's probably down to 10 men.
Selection saying it was this season.
It was this season. Wow.
When did we beat 2-0? Is that when they went down? They went down to 10 men. See, I've even forgot now.
Yeah. Look, we'll go with these guys. It must have been this season.
Salah double.
Okay. Well, look, I don't know. I think it was just an exception. I can't see teams being pinned that back without an outlet. I think against Newcastle, for example, you had Anthony Gordon on the left and right and left, each 45. And then you got Isaac as well. I don't know. I think it's an option. What we've been doing when we're really chasing games, Trent coming into midfield, playing as a double pivot as a controller. I think is another option if we really want to go gung ho for chasing a goal. It's an option. And you're right, his strength is carrying the ball and running, and we might see it, I don't know. But I think Gomez, in terms of his positioning, especially second half against Newcastle, and this is what my next question was, Avi, do you think we're seeing the difference between Arteta and Klopp now? As in, you listen to the Arsenal fans that they're saying, look, we have the same patterns of play, we're too negative, teams are working us out, you double up on the flanks, and it's too much reliance on Odegaard. You feel like Jurgen Klopp has really expressed in the last 2-3 weeks, just to give us an example of being brave. You've just talked about Diaz being brave. The manager has been brave. 3 substitutions again, really going for the team, going for the jugular. And yeah, we're going to be vulnerable on the counter, as we've seen against Arsenal, against United, who had a few chances. But Liverpool dare to win. And most weeks, the brave team comes out the winner.
Yeah, we've seen it in the Wolves game. We've seen it when we've gone 10 men down to Spurs, Newcastle. What game was it where Mac Allister got red carded? Early on the season, but he gets the red card and it rescinded. Brentford, was it maybe? Brentford, it might have been Brentford.
It might have been Brentford.
And Asim, look, this has come because we've got a stronger bench now as well. And he's got that little ticker in him, Klopp, that 60 to 65 minute. That's his sort of first signal sign to make that first substitution. And we saw it on the weekend yet again. That 60 to 65 minute is a sweet spot. Arsenal have wanted more control this season, but it's been detrimental in their play. They're not more forward thinking. They're not like the red arrows as we've been accustomed to with Mane, Bobby, and Salah. They're 3. Martinelli's out of form. Saka, is in and out of games. Jesus, 1 in 4 maybe right now. Nketiah, he's not the number 9. So they've got work, but Arteta wanted a specific way of playing this season. Has it made him a little bit more sort of dull and boring? Maybe, but it reminds me of the 2019 team, Asim, the Liverpool 2019 team.
Yeah.
Where that season we finished second, we were more controlled. We weren't gun-ho. We weren't rock and roll football. We were more controlled, and albeit we lost by a point to Man City, but I feel this Arsenal team, it's evolving. And this season, again, I will say it again, they will come up short. But I think next season is where you see the real fruition of Arteta and what he tries to do this season. Next season, I believe that they'll accelerate.
There's been talk about Arsenal fans having some sort of a fantasy of getting Curtis Jones in their team. There's a player they could.
You'd love that, wouldn't you? You'd love a swap deal, Smith Rowe for Curtis.
Well, I mean, sure. I think that's a good segue into a segment on Curtis Jones. I'm gonna hold my hands up.
Curtis Modric right now, okay? Curtis Modric, please.
Look, maybe not that far yet. Maybe not that far. But Avi, look, I was gonna say I have to hold my hands up. I got it wrong. Even the best get it wrong at times. But this
The greats get it wrong. The great, yo, please. Can't say that, please.
But look, he has been absolutely brilliant. He had an injury, but he's that kind of guy. He takes 2-3 games to get back into the rhythm and swing of things. But he's been absolutely brilliant. You've been just talking about Liverpool going for the jugular, being brave, the old Klopp style. But I think he gives a sense of control to the team as well, when we need to pop it off, when we need to go sideways at times. But now, over the last week or so, he's carrying the ball, and it's a testament to his fitness, his, sort of, is what's the word? He's daring. He's daring. And there's one moment in the game where Livramento again had him, but he sort of rotated and ran into the box and got a free kick just outside it. But it's just those moments where he can accelerate play when he wants. He can slow down, and he's counter pressing. The manager touched on it. Wow. And he's a big integral part. On the left-hand side, we've got him. On the right-hand side, we've got Dom. And when we lose the ball, we chase it. We chase it like we really, really want the ball back. And we didn't see it last season. But now we've got our press back, Avi.
There's a transcript, Asim, that Steven Gerrard back in 2017, and Curtis Jones came through, obviously, the academy under Alex Inglethorpe. Just 1 second. Sorry. While I'm see these are problem when you're at work. There was a transcript that Steven Gerrard, they were interviewing Steven Gerrard and talking about the academy. Yeah. And at the academy, he was a 10. He was a flair player, but he was he was a very relaxed player. You could say lazy at the best of times. He just wanted his work to be done at the final third.
But I think there was an interview. Sorry to interject. There was an interview with James Milner. I think he came on some podcast with what's that?
Ben Foster.
Yeah, it might have been on Ben Foster's, but he didn't name a player. But I think he was talking about Curtis, where you had to constantly remind him.
And he's one of those players that it probably was Curtis Jones. I would find it very hard if it wasn't Curtis Jones that Milner was talking about. And Gerrard said it straight. He said, this player can become whatever he wants to become, but he won't get into this Klopp team as a 10 or as a flair player. He's going to have to adjust. Whether he's got it in him, that mentality, I'm not sure. But one thing you can do on Curtis Jones is trust him. That's one thing he said. He said he will never let you down. And Curtis Jones, when he first came into the team, that debut goal against Everton, and you always thought he's going to play on that peripheral 10, even though Klopp doesn't play that way, or he might come off to the left. Klopp's revolutionized him. Like we talk about Guardiola with Philipp Lahm at Bayern Munich, with the things that he did with Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, De Bruyne, Rodri, what he's done with John Stones. It's so underrated what Klopp has done with Curtis Jones. I never thought he had this in him. The work ethic, the pressing, the harassing the opposition, just that control. And yes, sometimes it will look boring, but when you rewatch that game again, you'll see how important he was. Didi Hamann was never great when you saw him live, but when you rewatch that game and again, you'll see how pivotal he was, part of that Benitez sort of Champions League, the FA Cup win and whatnot. Curtis Jones is one of those players, he can turn it on when he needs to. If he needs to go for a dribble, he'll do it. He'll get himself out of trouble. Ball retention, just give and go. The ball, that's all it is. And he's a quality player. Undroppable right now, Asim, for me.
Wow.
Undroppable. Yeah. And I don't think I was saying this 2 years ago. I believed in this kid since 2017, but I also believe that he's only going to be at 10. There's nothing else to his game. He's got all the skill in the world, step overs. He had a brilliant left foot, right foot as well. I never knew that Klopp and the coaches, who deserve credit, Linda's included, would turn him into this sort of workman horse like midfielder, but at the same time have that talent to create an assist or get in the box and score a goal.
Yeah. I think if you actually go through the team, Avi, and you judge the sort of the most or the top 2 or top 3 even, some people will say, he's the biggest beneficiaries of the changes system. And it's not a coincidence. Even when we straight away, it was obviously a lot of, sort of discrepancies with the system. But even when we started it, that back post run that he was making, that run.
Spurs and the Leicester game and all that.
The Spurs, I think there was West Ham as well, away.
Last season, Leicester.
And last season, Leicester as well. And then even this carrying on the form, he is like you said, he started as that goal inside forward. He's not going to probably take a person on, and he's not going to be a Sadio Mane where he can stand someone up and drop a shoulder and go. But this system allows him to come deep, pick up the ball, and be. I know we said he's going to be the new Genie Wijnaldum, but in this system, where the conventional one, it was too much emphasis maybe in deeper areas, especially if you had someone like playing in the half space on the right hand side. But this one, he can be the controller from deep. If the fullback goes high wide, he's a calm sort of example to us in the deeper areas, and then he's so comfortable back to goal as a 10. So I think it suits him down to a T, this change of system. And you're right, when we've got players like Trent, Szoboszlai, who are a bit more daring, this guy, you need the control and the balance, and he's been providing it. And he's got a hunger about him now, Avi. A hunger. Even when you see these videos, when he's coming off the pitch, there's a vibe, there's a smile, and he knows he's playing well. And when you see that, you think he's going to take it onto the pitch. And that's exactly what's happening.
Asim is chalk and cheese between what's happening with United and their youngsters. Say Rashford, for example, and Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones probably thought 18 months ago, this potentially, even at 20, could be my last chance saloon at Liverpool. Because, there was murmurs of his attitude, his application. We weren't getting that output from him. But he's knuckled down. The protection that he's provided for Joe Gomez, Tsimikas before him. Yes, it took him a couple of games after Spurs, just to get back into the swing of things. We saw it against West Ham, but the services provided for Diaz, I think that's a good link-up play there on the left-hand side as well. I think they link up very well, Diaz and Jones. But no, Asim, I think it's the defensive work that deserves praise. We know he's got all the components going forward and creating, but what he's offering now, dare I say it, nearly a complete footballer if he goes on this trajectory.
Yeah, because he's got goals in him as well, Avi. He's got goals in him. He
was scoring 15 goals in the academy since 15, 16 years old. He was scoring 15 a season. He's scoring some crackers. He scored a hat-trick against Napoli, if I'm not mistaken, in the youth Champions League games as well. So he's got it in him. But this new role suits him to a T. I think he's had to learn that, listen, I won't make it as a 10. I won't make it as a floater amongst the forward line. I need to be an all-round player. So he's knuckled down as well. And credit to him.
Yeah, and when I mentioned the player Genie Wijnaldum in terms of ball retention, recycling the ball, maybe in that conventional 4-3-3 when you played more or less a double pivot, it sort of put a bit too much emphasis on Curtis Jones being the dueler. But in this system is more emphasis into a counter presser. And there's a massive difference where his work in terms of counter pressing is 10, 15 yards further up the field. And that suits him. It suits him because he can win the ball up high up the field and we can go again.
And we were talking about Trent last season, the last sort of 12, 13 games after that Arsenal draw 2-2, where we sort of saw the inverted. Curtis Jones was equally as important. And it was all about the counter press. It was all about him orchestrating that press before the midfielders around him, because Fabinho Henderson had no legs. It was this guy who was orchestrating the press, and the other players were following suit.
Ben's in the house. He says, yes, lads, Happy New Year, Ben. Happy New Year to you and family. Hope you're well. And go follow all the great work that Anfield Talk are doing.
I just want to big up Kieran Thorne, one of my old friends. We go back and forth. We have a odd Bonnie, but he's on a great path. He's on a great journey right now in his fitness and stuff. Working on his weight and whatnot. But big up Kieran Thorne. He's a big inspiration, not to me, but a few others as well. So keep it up, Kieran, and let's lose that 7.8 pounds that you gained over Christmas Day. Thank you.
How much did you gain, Avi?
Oh, let's not ask.
Avi, I must ask you. You have to. If someone gets 5-6 chances in a game, we have to discuss him. And I know we said we might do a bit of a special show on the big man up front. Look, I'm still backing him because I see the bigger picture. But where are you at the moment with Darwin Nunez?
I'll always back him. The minute I won't back him, if he continues these one-on-one misses, is if it costs us in a big game. If it's a 0-0 against City, you already know my thoughts on this, by the way. And Kieran Thorne has read my mind because I've already said this in a group that we're in. If he's on a one-on-one with Man City, Edison, and he needs to score to sort of win us the league, or just to to get us back into top first place and whatnot, and he sort of misses and he scuffs, then you've got to turn on him. Not turn on him as fans. That's wrong. That's not our ethos. That's never been a Liverpool fan ethos to turn on their own players. I apologize. But you do have your doubts then. He needs to be converting these chances. It's a confidence thing, Asim. It is a confidence and composure thing.
Avi, you say it's a confidence thing. The guy came out with a brilliant finish against Burnley.
Then what is it? Look, instinctive finishes, I back him any day. I back him any day when it comes to instinctive finishes. Burnley was an instinctive finish.
Yeah.
The potential, the one-on-ones where he's had to think for a split second, you can't go straight at the keeper. You've got to finish those.
Arib asks, lads, we've been waiting for 18 months, bro.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? How much more time do we give him, Avi? You know my opinion. With Darwin Nunez.
Look, if we win the league and he ends up with 15 league goals and 10 assists, you can't argue that. You stick with him then, Arib. I'm sorry, you stick with him because, look, Bobby's game was different and we never expected Bobby to hit 15, 20, 25. He was a 10 and 10 really. I know he had one season in the 2017-18 season where he scored 24 in all competitions, but Bobby was a 10 to 15. If we win the league with Darwin Nunez at our forefront as a 9 and he scored 15 and he's got 10 assists, I think he's got 7 already, to be honest, then I don't worry too much. But in the long run, Arib, it could cost us league title because you look at Haaland, and I think the reason that Arsenal on top of the league is because they haven't got a recognised number 9. We've been lucky that we've got Salah who can finish. We've got players like Jota who's chipping in. He's got 8 and 17. Gakpo's got 6, 7. Nunez is on like 8. Diaz on 5. We're lucky that we've got 5 players who will score goals. 2 that will score probably more than the others, Jota and Salah. I just think you've got to stick to it. And look, Klopp said the same as well. He goes, don't worry about his game. His overall game is improving. The finishing will come. And I trust the manager. Asim, you trust the manager. And we can only go off by the manager's words.
Arib says, I don't want to hear the GA argument. The main problem is why he's almost 20 BCM. Avi?
What's that? BCM? It's a new word for me.
Big chances missed.
Oh, big chances. Okay.
It's almost 20 big chances missed, and we're halfway through the season. Look, that is a fair point. And the guys who are questioning his starting place in the team, I can understand it. Why? Because we're seeing it on a consistent basis. But where my eyes stand on, Avi, and I think you're the same as well, but maybe Gene, I'll just give you a bit of a sneak a spoiler that he's basically saying, look, we need just take him off, put him on the bench, and sort of protect him and use him as an impact sub. But I'll leave that for Gene for Sunday. Where I am at with it is, I think his benefits outweigh his deficiencies. When he plays, he sort of straight away pushes the defensive line of the opposition 5-10 yards deeper. It gives the likes of Curtis, it gives the likes of Trent coming into midfield from right back more space. We can pin opposition. We can put that Joe Gomez on the left hand side a lot higher, and we can sustain attacks. And in terms of channel running, in terms of connecting play, he's better 20-30% in terms of how much he's improved ball coming to feet and connecting play. Yes, you'll be deluded, you'll be a liar to say Darwin Nunez needs to, he hasn't got a problem in front of goal. 100%. I put a stat out last show that when we scored his 30 goals at Benfica, I think it's around about 77% of those goals came with his first touch. So there, if you ever needed or wanted an instinctive striker, there you have it. That stat proves it. But I think it'll come in time. Maybe what he needs to do, look at his game. The manager needs to sit down with him, the coaching staff, and maybe look at the type of finish. I think when he comes up with a keeper, where he just wants to put it in an exact point on a corner, top left, bottom left, top right.
Is he striking the ball too fine?
It's too ends of the extreme, maybe. I think he needs to go for a bit of percentage where even if he's got 6-7 yards to the right or left, or probably a bit less than that, where the space is, he tries to go, and this is probably why he's supposed to bar so many times, but he goes for too much, and he laces everything, generally speaking. Yeah. So I think he needs to play percentages a bit more, but you have to sort of include his bad luck as well. That sort of point-blank range save from their keeper. Anyone else, it goes in, Avi. Anyone
Well,
else.
look at Gakpo's, and sometimes
There
luck.
you go. There you
Gakpo
go.
mistimed his shot, and it goes in. Where Nunez was hitting it fine, and the keeper saves it. Look, you've got to believe in luck. There is the element of that. And look,
Yeah.
at Benfica, he had Rafa Silva, Grimaldo, arguably the best left back in the world right now, who were literally serving it on a platter for him. Right wing, left wing, and his first touches into the box, he would shoot, get his shot off. You saw against us at Liverpool in the Champions League games, he finished.
Yeah.
He scored a hat trick, which was, I know he got he got called offsides, a few offsides calls at Anfield, but he was hitting them fine. So look,
And
yes,
Avi,
we have.
just
Yeah, go on.
carry on, finish off.
No, definitely persist with him. Still have confidence that he will come good. I'm still expecting over 20 goals this season.
Yeah, and maybe people have sort of accused me of being obsessed with team structures and stuff like that. And the manager mentioned it after I think it was in the press conference when they asked him a question about Darwin Nunez. He said, "Look, you know, he made the Newcastle centre backs play a lot closer to each other because they were scared of Darwin Nunez eating up the space. And maybe this is the reason why we saw Salah. People said this is the old Salah, the second half performance. And on the other side, maybe it wasn't a coincidence where Lucio Diaz had a bit of extra time in running into space because those centre backs were occupied a bit, too much with Darwin spacing behind. So look, Jota does that. But it doesn't do it as well as Darwin. And Arsenal fans, again, you look at them in the last month or so, they said, we don't play a ball in the channel. Our patterns of play are so predictable. But Darwin Nunez, you can hoof the ball up top and he can go in behind the defense. And it gives us that unpredictability. Yes, he needs to put the chances away. And hopefully, with a bit more composure in the next few weeks, he'll gain a bit of confidence. But do you think he's a confidence player, Avi? What I mean about that is do you think, look, he scored a brilliant goal against Burnley. He's that just type of finisher. He'll never develop a bog standard default finish to get and finish maybe 6, 7, 10 times out of 10. Do you think this is it for Darwin Nunez? He's this type of guy and he won't improve his finishing.
No, I think he'll definitely. I think his finishing can be developed. Look, you got again comparisons with the great Uruguayan Luis Suarez's counterpart. When he first joined us under Kenny, he was missing shots all over the place, hitting the bar, hitting the post. Under Brendan Rodgers, I don't know what switched or what changed. He got 31 in the first season, 34, 35 in the second season. Got his move to Barcelona, and he was prolific as anything. He was also prolific at Ajax, don't forget that. But that little period under Kenny, he was missing chances galore. Yeah. I think he can develop. Look, he's 24 years old, Asim. Harry Kane wasn't the finished article at 23, 24. He's probably out on loan to Leicester City's, I think, Harry Kane at the time. But sometimes it's that little spark that goes. I think he's going to be carrying a lot on his shoulders now that Salah's going. I think he will relish that pressure as well over the next sort of course of 3-4 weeks, depending on Egypt's obviously performances in the Afcon.
And I think Dazo concludes the Darwin Nunez debate beautifully. He says, we win more matches with Nunez in the team. That summarizes it brilliantly. You mentioned the Egyptian king, Avi, in his interview with Sky. He said, I asked myself at halftime, this is what winners do. They even scrutinize at halftime. They don't have a little orange or whatever they have at halftime. What do you think they have at halftime these days, Avi? A banana? A killer?
Big Mac.
You one in at halftime, knowing you.
Water and one of those isoprotein sort of shakes or those little powders that they have. Mo Salah. I was so frustrated. He's frustrating. I don't know what it is. He frustrates me a lot in his link-up play. Second half, again, perfection. It was a perfect 10 out of 10 performance second half, as in from him, creating the outside of his left foot to set up Gakpo. He's majestic, absolutely majestic. 18 league goals in 26 games. 18 goals in 26 games. Absolutely amazing. I really want Egypt to win it. He's been unlucky, especially against Senegal, and the laser beam during the penalty shootouts in the last Afcon final. I really want him to come back with that trophy and present it at Anfield, because he will get an absolute rousing ovation if he ends up winning it. Yeah. Yeah, totally, Asim. Yeah, totally, Asim. I think so. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah,
You, there's some kids watching
uh,
now. That was quite good. It lasted for about 5, 6.
that was making sense.
It
I don't know what
lasted
you
for
said.
about 5, 6 seconds.
Go on.
I said, does he, if he wins it with Egypt, does he miss the Arsenal league game? I think he does, Avi. Maybe someone can tell us in the comments. And if he does that change your mind if you want Egypt to win it?
I want Mo Salah to be remembered on the world stage. Messi's won the World Cup, the Copa America. Luis Suarez has won the Copa America with Uruguay. Cristiano Ronaldo has won the Euro with Portugal. I want Mohamed Salah to win something for his country. He deserves it. So yes, in a non sort of selfish way, as a Liverpool fan, I do want him to get to the final and win it. I do.
I want Mo Salah to win, but I
We
want
should still
Liverpool
be.
to have the best chances of
We
beating
should
Arsenal
still.
at the Emirates.
We will be okay at the Emirates without Salah. I promise
Finals
you.
finals is on the 10th. When do we play Arsenal? Bob,
We,
if you can tell us that.
we play them on the 4th of February. I'm at that game.
Do we play them on the 4th?
4th, yeah, 4th.
Oh, that's all right then. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Look, I'm selfish, Avi. I'm with Jono. I'm with Jono. I love Mo Salah. I absolutely adore the man, but I want him back as soon as possible. How can you not want that output in your team?
We'll be okay against Arsenal, I said. I'm there. I'm at the Emirates at that game. I'm
ठीक है?
flying in. We'll be okay. We'll be good at that game.
Okay. There's some dates here. Finals is on the 10th.
Of February, and the game's on the 4th.
So
He misses
exactly.
it
So you will miss it.
if they get to the final.
Yeah.
Or semis or quarters.
Okay. I'm with Tafsir.
I think
I'm with Tafsir. He's about Endo. I thought he was on about Salah, but yeah. But I think Mac Allister will be fine.
I think Asim. I think he wants to win it. He's been close twice now. He hasn't won it. You know, I think he does want to win the Afcon, and I think they've got a good team. They've got a few players. There's another sort of, I think, Salah from the French league as well. Trezeguet, El Neni. You know, I think they want to win it. I think they'll want to win it.
And if he wins it, does he get the big trophy in France, in Paris? The big showpiece?
He deserves it. He's deserved it before. He didn't get it, so I don't know.
Mo Salah can score 60 goals. He can win the World Cup. He can win the Afcon. He still won't get the Ballon d'Or. That's my opinion. Curtis Jones, Curtis Endo, someone mentioned him in the comments. He had a brilliant game again, Avi. When you need someone to put a foot in over the last few weeks, the Newcastles, the Arsenals, the Man Uniteds, when they turn up at Anfield, you need a player like that. Yes, he's an honest player. He's not got the progressive passes ability that, Mac Allister possesses, but he's an honest player and he's building in confidence. And it's a shame that he has to go for international duty again. But once again, it was a top performance by our warrior in midfield.
Samurai, man. The Japanese samurai. There were doubts, Asim. Everyone had doubts. We didn't even know a clue of who he was. And, I work very closely with Japanese clients. I didn't know who he was. Yes, he's the captain of Japan, but a very underwhelming signing when we were linked with Caicedo. Fluffed our lines there, fluffed our lines in the Lavia deal. And then you're thinking, which other DMs? There are little few names and snippets here, but to get Wataru Endo, we thought this smells of like Shumatke doing some ugly business here. It looked shady. There were rumors of like some shady business, underpayments, but listen, absolute disrespect. I go everything that I said on the guy, and I didn't say anything bad. I said, look, he probably ended up being a good player, but boy, has he proved us all wrong. Brilliant machine, hardworking, and I think he's been a very good progressive player in his passing. He will look for that daring pass. Took him a while, but we know why he was signed now.
Yeah.
He's that level-headed, that leader sort of as well. The gumshoe would love it. That Noah type kind of player, the Henderson kind of type player, the energy, and he's been like silently just getting along with it, and he's getting his praise. Yeah. Finished against Fulham. He's got that header in the Europa League. Came on against Fulham, changed the game, allowed Trent to play more. He's been pivotal for us.
Is he the new cult hero at the club?
You'd have to say so. I think he's taken over the Divock Origi reins,
Yeah,
100%. You got to agree with that. I think he has. I think he's got that cult hero status about him right now, especially
yeah,
if you win the league. And he's brought good luck to us. And I, I, I,
yeah.
I I believe he'll go to the Asia Cup, come back. And the problem with the Asia Cup is
Do you want him to win it as well?
they probably will win it. I think they've won the last 10 in a row.
Have they?
I think so.
Okay, here's a question from Arif. Do you swap him for Caicedo? Swiftly moving on. So I think the manager, when he opened the newsstand of Annie Road, he summarized that, and I think those words must be left as the sort of lasting words. Avi, he went off because he got a yellow card as well. The manager, with that discussion I put up on Twitter, because of my earpieces were in and the volume was up. But he said again he was praiseworthy of his closest ally in Pep Linders, and he said, "Boss, we need Mac Allister because yes, I know Vitaro had a yellow card, but also the game demanded it. The game demanded a calmness on the field, and wow, that pass."
Split pass.
And
Yeah.
what a pass, Avi. And it just shows you what we missed over the last couple of weeks as well, since he's been missing. That pass from deep that can win a game from deep areas. You don't have to be outside the box to produce a pass on the halfway line. This man has the vision of, I don't know which sort of comparison you want to make, but he can make a pass from anywhere on the field. And boy, did he make it.
So earlier on when he signed, I said he gives me shades of Iniesta. Obviously, Iniesta was an 8,
Mm,
more rather than a sitting 6. I think this guy is the closest thing to Andres Iniesta if he plays a little bit further forward.
mm,
Szoboszlai, Jones, and Mac Allister. What do they bring to our midfield that we didn't have last season? Composure, calmness. They don't flurry. They don't worry. They they relish pressure. They relish players hunting them down because they'll get themselves out of trouble. Mac Allister's been an absolute snip. When you look at, and I know you rate him Declan Rice. Mac Allister's an absolute snip at that price.
of
Absolute snip
course.
at 35 million. And it's scouting, Asim. It really is scouting. I mean, Arsenal felt that they needed Declan Rice, but when you see the output that Mac Allister has shown at Liverpool,
Yeah.
we've saved 65 million. I know we would never spend 100 on Declan Rice, but when you look at
Mm,
the performances of both pivotal to their teams, but I think we've got one of the best deals of the summer. 35 million.
yeah, 100%. 100%. But you know what, Avi, I want a destroyer. The Paulinia performance against Arsenal, even though I think we need someone for Liverpool to have a double. If you don't want to put too much responsibility in Trent inverting into midfield, I like the balance where Trent, if he does stay conventional, he's got Mac Allister in midfield. With someone like Vitaro, I feel like he does need to invert a bit more, even though we've seen the 3-1 structure, over the last couple of weeks where the confidence in Endo is allowing Trent to sometimes stay, high and wide. And we've seen a bit of a variation in Liverpool's build-up. But I think in terms of, I've lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Um,
Mac Allister, Declan Rice.
yeah, but I like that sort of duo of Mac Allister and Trent. I know there's no natural destroyer, and this is maybe why I want another defensive sort of centre
But
back.
Asim, and I get what you mean. And again, as fans, we want a combative DM, a
Yeah,
destroyer as such. But when you look at the Man City game away from home this season, did we lack a combative DM? Did we really lack a combative DM, or were we okay with Mac Allister in there?
but Avi, do you think with the lack of combative DM is putting a bit too much emphasis or responsibility on the likes of Curtis, on the likes of Szoboszlai in particular, off the ball?
But they're relishing from it, Asim. Szoboszlai's work rate. I know he's a little bit at the moment, he's
That's what I just
a
wanted to
little bit
come.
leggy and tiredness. But listen, it's it's a squad game. We knew we had to manage Szoboszlai's time as well. Curtis Jones has come back. He's rejuvenated. After that Spurs injury, a little bit of niggling injuries as well. He's come back. Mac Allister's come back. He will be back. Full of
Mm.
beans as well. He's missed 4 or 5 games, so he'll be itching at it as well. I think this season, depending on the progress of Badic or whether he comes back or not, I don't think we dip into the market. I really don't
January.
think there's. I don't think there's anyone right now that I would think Andre. I don't think there's real interest there. despite what my friend Tim Vickery said. Polinia, are we really going to spend 60, 70 million on a 28, 29-year-old who probably gives us 4 years? I don't think we do that. I think we're going to wait on Bajicic. But I think Klopp feels, and it could be a risk again, I think he's going to go with as we are right now.
I think you're right, Avi. And Mohammed Kibriya is a regular in our BNR chat on WhatsApp. He says, Asim finally in for Paulinia. Look, I think Paulinia is a brilliant combative midfielder. But what my concerns are with his passing stats. I think Liverpool play, if Trent doesn't invert, it sort of puts some emphasis on that single pivot. Is he press resistant? Can he drop a shoulder? Is he that type of player? I don't think he's that type of player. I think our single pivot needs to be better and progressive to an extent, like Fabinho was. I think Fabinho was underrated in the build-up as well. And he carried up and he made sure we won the ball up the field, which Paulinia does. And is he a combative destroyer in a team where they play generally in the big games, they don't have the ball. But in the big games, like anyone in the smaller games or mid-table teams, we can have Mac Allister, we can have Trent, we can have Endo, just like we've proven right over the last 3-4 weeks. I judge Paulinia on the big day.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe the manager has been saying, the game's moved on. I don't know. But I think you're spot on, Avi, in terms of the Bajicic call. I think that he's the perfect blend where he can play football. He's an 8 as well, but he's got the discipline because of his defensive duties in his early parts of his younger days. He's played at centre-back. I think he's the perfect blend to come into that midfield.
Are you happy to go with Endo and Mac Allister as rotating sixes for the rest of the season? if they're going to give Bajicic all the care in the world and pretty much writing off this season, Thiago, I'm not going to mention. Are you happy to go with Endo and Mac Allister for the rest of the season? So considering how many games we got left, we got 18 games left.
Yes, but I feel we need a signing if we really want to show him ambition. We didn't expect it to be here, let's be honest. And I think we need to sort of go for it now because there's a league to be won. We're 3 points behind. Zubimendi is another shout. But I think, Arsenal are in for him, Avi. I think Avi,
closest thing to Rodri in my eyes.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are in for him, Avi. I think Arsenal are in for him. But yeah, I think we need to buy a centre-back. I'd be happy with a DM, no doubt. But
this was tried in pre-season, Kieran. This was tried in pre-season. Asim, your thoughts?
Jones in the 6 in rotation with Endo and play Mac Allister further up. I think I like Mac Allister's sort of feistiness in deeper areas. And I think that's why the manager chose Mac Allister. I think although Jones has played Liverpool, I think Aston Villa away last year, Southampton away in the quadruple chasing season. He played that double pivot that day away. I was there.
He played very well as well that day.
He did. And he completely for England all summer.
Angel Gomez alongside the Gomez, yeah.
There you go. So he's got that. But I think that feistiness, the Argentinian grit, I think that's why, what do you call him? Klopp chose him. And when we do lose the ball, I think Curtis Jones is a better counter-presser when running back to goal. I think Mac Allister has shown he can't sort of cover space well, even when he's been playing DM. And that's why the likes of Szoboszlai have to protect him. But I think it works wonders because we got the what was that? There was a pass for Darwin Nunez at home at Anfield this season, over the top of the defensive line, a straight pass. First time. Was it West Ham?
Mac Allister played it.
Yeah.
When you got ourselves out of trouble in our own half, in our own area, right?
No, it was just a normal settled formation. And he just played a ball. I think it was West Ham, Abbey. I think it was West Ham. But that ball, like a Xavi type of ball, Xavi diagonal, but a straighter ball. I think that ability, and even the pass against Newcastle on Monday night, I think Curtis Jones does have that in his locker. But I think
Mac Allister, a little bit of quality.
Yeah, and I think what I mentioned about that dynamic in terms of covering space and in the tackle. Yeah, West Ham winner, he says. West Ham winner. Yeah, it was the winner, or maybe to go 3-1 up.
That volley was it? The volley.
The volley.
There you go. Yeah. It was Mac Allister's pass. It was Mac Allister's pass.
So yes, but we touched on Szoboszlai, Avi. He mentioned that he's been suffering from fatigue. He's picked up an injury now. Do you think it's a direct link between the fatigue and his I don't know, he's been a bit lackluster on the ball. On the ball. But do you think it's a concern, his form? Because you've been touching on it for the last 3-4 weeks now, Avi.
I actually thought he was okay against Newcastle. I mean, he sets the first goal up, right? Like he gets the ball, gets ahead of I think Joe Linton or Longstaff, sets off Diaz, who sets up Nunez for Salah. So great there. He is a little bit leggy, Asim, and that's fine. I think this injury, hopefully it's not serious, has come at the right time for him. I think a little bit of a breather, 3-4 weeks, hopefully,
Avi,
3 weeks,
how can you
hopefully,
say that, man?
he'll come
How
back.
can you say that? How can you say this injury's come at the
For
right
him,
time?
for him, I think for him, he needed a breather. You can't keep starting him, Asim. He was struggling for form. I thought Newcastle, he was okay. He was still running, still covering grass, but in terms of quality, in terms of that final third, we were lacking. But look, like I said, the first goal, he kind of gets in front of, not deep dispossesses Longstaff, but he gets the ball just ahead of Longstaff, sets Diaz away. Because look, we've got the Carling Cup, we should be okay. Gravenberch needs to step up as well. So it gives him a little bit more added pressure. He'll probably miss the Fulham games. Arsenal, maybe FA Cup game. I'm not too worried about. Hopefully 2 weeks and he'll be back.
I'm gutted he's out because I've been talking about the snippet that we saw against West Ham in the Europa League, not
Yeah.
Europa League, Carabao, where that dynamic with Harvey Elliott and Szoboszlai. And maybe that's why Harvey Elliott didn't come on against Newcastle because, I think he's got a big month ahead of him. He'll play some cup games. He'll play against Fulham, I think. And that dynamic, because both players are comfortable of going to the right wing. And they might not go on the outside, more so Harvey Elliott, but they're both comfortable interchanging positions. And I don't like Curtis Jones on the right. I don't like Ryan Gravenberch on the right because I don't think they can provide the overlap and, go on the outside. I think that dynamic really, really worked. They complemented each other really well in that game. And I thought we saw a bit of a snippet as to what's going to be, sort of portrayed in the next, month or so. But I think it's a shame. But I thought Szoboszlai, even though there was a few misplaced passes, Avi, I thought he carried the ball really, really well. And when the game was a bit of a basketball game, he galloped and he covered space really well and he carried the ball really well, just like Curtis Jones.
And look, this will keep him in good stead going into next season as well. This is his first season as him in the Premier League. It does take his toll. He's trying to impress as well. 22, 23, the comparisons to Steven Gerrard and whatnot, he'll be reading all that stuff as well. And listen, he'll want to impress every single game. But I think, and I know maybe that's the wrong term to say, it's come at the right time, this injury. There's no right time for any injury to any player. But I think for himself, it just takes him out of the limelight. And listen, we should be easing past Fulham in 2 legs. Arsenal game, I'm not bothered about. Yes, if we can beat them in the FA Cup, great. If we don't, that's fine. If he's out for 2-3 weeks, I think we'll do him the world of good. I think he'll come back stronger, and I think he'll come back as to the early form as we were accustomed to.
Avi, I think that's the most extensive post-match reaction we've ever done. Maybe because it was the brains of the channel that were both on.
The real brains, yeah, the real brains. The real brains.
But anything else we need to touch on? We've covered more or less every player. I think Joe Gomez deserves a shout. Van Dijk, Kanate. On their goal, do you think Van Dijk was that mistake?
For the Isaac?
Yeah.
Brilliant finish. Ice cold. And sometimes sometimes they'll get the better of that. Anthony Gordon, the way he skipped past Szoboszlai and Trent, that was embarrassing for those two. Especially the physical specimen that Trent and Szoboszlai is. For Anthony just to skip past him, I think that was a bit of a lazy approach. But the finish, I wish a certain Darwin had that kind of finish. And a celebration as well. No fuss. 1-1. Back to business.
He made his debut at Anfield last season. I was there. He's deceptively quick.
Yes.
I didn't think when I saw him, was it at Sociedad?
Sociedad he was at, yeah.
Yeah, even at Sweden, you thought he's nice, tidy player. And maybe the big boys, that's why it was one of the reasons why the big boys didn't go for him, because I think he had a pretty average goal scoring record at Sociedad.
No, he was quite impressed. It was at Dortmund where he struggled. He struggled at Dortmund.
Okay.
Maybe he was too young. The move was too young for him, or the move was too early for him, rather. Went to Sociedad. He grabbed a few goals in Sociedad, I'm pretty sure. Very talented kid. Very talented kid.
Yeah.
Very talented kid. So, good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. Jota, there was a few penalty shouts, Avi. Both were penalties. I don't know. I watched the highlights later on. I don't know what Gary Neville's on about.
I'm so thankful that in America we don't get Gary Neville.
Who do you get?
We
Who
don't
do you
get
get?
John Carragher either. We get Jim Beglin. We get
Oh yes,
Clive
yeah.
Teasley.
ITV back in the days, yeah.
But who's the better one? Who's the other one?
Peter Drury.
Peter Drury too.
No, he's on Sky now, Avi.
No, we get Drury too as well. Then we get Drury too.
Or when he's not on Sky, you still get him.
Yeah, but we don't get Gary Neville in our thingy.
Who's the analyst? Is it Lee Dixon? Or
Dixon. Who else is there? There's another. There's 3-4 of them. But
okay.
yeah,
Look, I don't know. I think someone tweeted a Harry Kane penalty and he called him clever. But for Jota, it was a dive. Where's the consistency? Maybe one's English and the other one's Portuguese. I don't know.
Jota, when he rounds the keeper, there is no way he's not trying to stay on his feet and scoring, because that's what he is. He's a poacher. He wouldn't have cared in the world for the penalty, but he gets clipped. The elbow clips him, and he went down. That's it. The only time I watch Gary Neville is The Overlap, which I think is a great program, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I think it's brilliant. I think right.
Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And there's another clown. There's another clown.
He is a clown. He is a clown.
Avi, do we play the kids on the weekend? Do we play the kids? There's been plenty of predictions, lineups on Twitter today, and a lot of people think Liverpool go quite strong. But look, yeah, I get the idea, Avi. We should go all for 4 competitions and this and that. But look, we're in the Europa League. If we really want to win it, we will win it. If you really want to win the Carabao Cup, we will win it. But I think with injuries getting picked up, Salah out for a bit, Endo obviously going out whilst he was on good form, Mac Allister has just come back, Jota just come back. We have to manage the squad. And I think some would argue in the quadruple season, chasing season, I know we were 5 mad minutes of Manchester City winning away from winning the league. But I thought we were a bit lackluster in that Champions League final.
We were shattered. We were shattered by the end of it. Yes, we had chances and stuff, and Courtois had this, man of the match performance and out of this world performance, but we were shattered by then. Give Kelleher give a run. Kwanzaa should come back in. I would love to see Conor Bradley coming at right back, left back.
Give me a team. Give me a team, Avi.
Kelleher, Bradley, Konate, Kwanzaa. I would play Konate, Kwanzaa alongside him. Left back. Someone said Owen Beck is back. So if he is back from Scotland, give him a run. Otherwise, I'll go with Joe Gomez.
Okay.
Midfield.
Joe Gomez left back in the cup, Avi.
Yeah. Mac. I'll play Mac. I'll play Harvey.
Mac Allister, Harvey. Gravenberch.
Yeah. Front 3. Gakpo's one. Jota's one. And Diaz.
Ooh, heavy. So Diaz.
What, Doak's injured? Doak's still injured.
Yeah, I guess you don't really.
Is there anyone that we could? Bobby Clark, maybe he's back from injury, but is that too soon? Do you really want to chuck him in? One thing you don't want to do is get battered, Asim. You don't want to be. You don't want to be so bad that it's detrimental to the youngsters that are starting. You want to make a fist of it. Cade, I knew Kieran Thorne would say his boy Cade Gordon. Maybe.
Yeah, but Avi, you think Arsenal are going to make some changes as well?
They want to win it though. They're under pressure, especially after West Ham loss, especially after the Fulham loss. They all want to win this game. We don't want it to be so. Look, if we lose 1 or 2-0. We don't want it to be detrimental to the youngsters.
I can understand that.
And Bradley, and then even our fans, they won't understand it. Even on Twitter, they'll still be going for them. Oh, he was rubbish. He was shit. Get him out of my club. Never good enough. This and that and the other. I think we'll play a semi to strong team.
Okay, semi-strong. I can see Arsenal going stronger. I won't be surprised. I don't think they'll go. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll be surprised if they go full first team. They will want to win it. They are at home. The onus is on them to win the game.
Arsenal will not want to lose, Asim. They all play.
It's a bad patch, isn't it? It's a bad patch.
I think they go full strength.
Wow. To stop the rot? Is that what your reasoning is?
Especially with us coming a month later to Emirates, they won't want to lose this game.
Yeah, I can see the psychology behind it. They've not got the Carabao Cup, as Bob states.
Carvalho,
So,
I don't believe he can play because I think we are on the verge, maybe, of confirming a loan move for him.
oh wow, is that an exclusive?
So
Semi-exclusive.
I think he goes out on loan, but he can't play because of the regulations. He'll be playing for like 3 clubs in one season. I don't think that can happen anymore. So yeah,
Okay. Okay. Do you think that loan will go to someone like Leicester or someone Liverpool are looking for a Premier League club?
I think someone mentioned
Shoe
Fulham.
Shoe says to Fulham, back to Fulham.
I know
Ali says
Leeds.
Fulham as well.
I know Leeds are on the trail as well.
Yeah, I can see that Leeds link. Play good football as well, as we mentioned in the last.
It's got to be a team which can accommodate him, and like you said, Asim, where the ball is to his feet and where he's the center of attention, like a James Madison. And you hit the nail on the head the other day when you mentioned it. He needs to be at a club where the ball goes through him. Everything, the passes, the moves,
Yeah.
goes through Fabio Carvalho, and he's good enough to be that as well. And I still believe there is a future at Liverpool for him.
Yeah. I mean, there was a segment that we planned for transfers. I think we've gone an hour over. You've given me more than what you committed to whilst at work. I think we'll leave the transfer segment to Sunday, and maybe we'll probably got a little to talk about. There's been a Paul Joyce article that we can maybe go through. Maybe there's an updated Paul Joyce article just before Sunday. We never know. The window's open. Anything can happen. But anything you want to touch on before we go? Are we still getting a defender? Eddie asks.
I don't know whether we're going to get a player that we all want, but Jarell Hato of Ajax, potentially some movements there. Maybe not in January, but definitely in the summer. We're trying to get this deal actually wrapped up
Another Jarell.
before all the big clubs come in for him. Yeah, and with the links of Gravenberch, Gakpo, Van Dijk, I think we're firm favourites if we make a play for him.
100%. Avi, I think you deserve to do the outro. We don't even ask anyone to like, subscribe, but the conversation is so sort of like riveting. That's the right word. Now, we never ask, but there's still over 100 people watching. If you haven't smashed a like, it only takes a second. Smash a like. That's all you ask for. It means the world to us. How the algorithms and all that sort of stuff work in the world of social media. But do all that good stuff. If you're watching the show later on, please like and subscribe, and let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you want us to do. I promise you, we will be doing more content. We've had a few chats backstage and WhatsApp as well with Sheen and Sarib and a few of the contributors, and we promise you we'll be doing a lot more content. We're even trying to do some fan cams outside Anfield, Avi. We're looking into getting in some equipment and commitment as well, and maybe we can kick those fan cams off.
Yeah, and we'll be back on Friday, I believe, where me, Asim, and Sarib, maybe not Gene yet, we'll be going through just the normal sort of transfer talk, various clubs. Obviously, we'll touch upon Liverpool, see what we're hearing, see what's going on Twitter, and just round up the news. So Friday, we'll be doing a show, and then Sunday post-match for the Arsenal. Please like and subscribe, guys. More shows are coming your way. We'll be doing an in-person show next month when I'm down. Arsenal game, Burnley game. So we'll be at a kebab shop with our doner kebabs doing a quick 30-minute show. But guys, love all, be good, and we shall see you on Friday.
Take care, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.